is a big cloud that is sitting over the global economy, and that's the cloud which is the trade dispute between the United States and China. Do you see anything changing?
Well, we certainly hope so. I think, if anything, this trade war has proved to be so counterproductive to the United States economy. As we talked about, the U.S. is, fighting with inflation, and lowering that tariff rates would be the first very effective measure, because that would reduce the import costs for the United States. And on top of that, with all the infrastructure spending and creating more jobs and supply, that would also help to tame the inflationary pressure. Not to mention the infrastructure spending would help, the U.S. economy to grow by 4 percentage points in 2022. So I think the point here is that fighting a trade war is not going to help the United States to regain its economic prominence. As Ryan Haas has written in his book, Stronger, what the U.S. really needs to do in win the competition against China is to really reinvest itself. And $1.2 trillion in infrastructure spending is sounding a lot, but it actually really is not sufficient for the United States to revamp its infrastructure deficits.
The trade war was as much a political matter as it was an economic matter. And the fact is that China made commitments that it did not live up to. And the biggest threats to U.S.-China economic relations are both that failure to purchase more than 60% of what it promised to do, compounded by President Biden's failure to develop a China's trade strategy during his first year that will allow the two countries to engage. So the politics of this, we're living in a zero-sum and a zero-trust environment. And I think China's failure to deliver on promises that it made internationally, compounded with its failure to meet other promises that it's made in recent years, I think are a almost insurmountable problem. We're in a stalemate, unfortunately, and it's going to be very hard to come out of it and address this as an economic issue, which I sure wish that we would do.
Liang wants to say something on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think, it's really a self-defeatist kind of rhetoric just to say this is all about politics. And so that's the end of the discussion. I think, no matter what Democratic Party does in terms of, trade policies with China per se, the Republicans are not going to be happy about it. They will keep up the rhetoric about being tough on China. So I think at the end of the day, I wish the Biden administration can really just put that politics aside and do what is right, for the economy, for the people. And that might actually help to garner support, when people see the economy thriving, jobs are returning, and jobs are being created, and inflation is tamed down. I think that would really help with the political career, right, and the political landscape for the Democratic Party. And also, I think one point about China is not delivering its promise in terms of purchase agreements. Well, we all know COVID, right, was happening, and that not only disrupt the demand side, but more importantly, the supply side. And China has made a lot of commitments in terms of agriculture products purchases. So, and when it comes to energy, for example, the price is down for the most part, before this year. So there are a lot of difficulties. Not only, it's not a lack of China's commitment, but all these realities, made it difficult to fulfill that purchase agreements. And when it comes to other, in terms of policy revisions and changes in its trade practices, I think China is making a lot of progress.